In this video, I am breaking down the 5 most life-changing lessons from The Millionaire Next Door, a book that will completely transform how you think about money, success, and financial freedom. I will give you an insight into the habits and the mindset of the real millionaires. And this book explains exactly how normal people like you and me can become rich. The authors spent more than 20 years trying to uncover the surprising secrets of wealth in America. And the book describes how their first instinct was to go to these rich and upscale neighborhoods and knock on doors and then talk to the people living in these big mansions with very nice luxury cars in the driveway. However, they quickly discovered that most of these people were not wealthy at all. Despite their flashy lifestyles, most of these people had little to no money saved up. And this realization completely turned their research upside down and gave them a new understanding of what it means to be truly rich. They learned that being rich is not the same as earning a lot of money. If you earn a lot of money but also spend all that money, it is basically impossible to build wealth. What you need to do to build wealth is you need to spend less than you make and invest the difference. In most Western countries, it is relatively easy to earn a decent salary. The problem is that a lot of people, they spend way too much money on completely unnecessary consumption of things. And that leads us to the first lesson from the book. Lesson number 1. Prioritize financial independence over looking rich. Real millionaires prioritize financial freedom and financial independence over anything else. They don't care about showing off and impressing other people. To them, the most important thing is to save up money so that they can have freedom and flexibility and opportunities in their lives. Real millionaires, they don't try to look rich. In today's world, anyone can look rich if they are just willing to spend everything that they make and at the same time take on massive debt. It is a whole lot easier to look rich than it is to actually be rich. Real millionaires, they understand the true value of money. They see money as a tool that can give them freedom, flexibility, and opportunities in life. They make sure that they always below their means, which means that they spend less than they make and they save and invest the difference. Real millionaires, they don't care about keeping up with the Joneses. Lesson number 2. Embrace frugality and smart spending. Real millionaires, they are frugal, and that simply means that they spend less than they make and they save and invest the difference. And this is truly one of the most important factors if you ever want to be rich. Frugality is not about just spending as little as possible. Frugality is about cutting out all the unnecessary overconsumption of things that you don't need and also that don't add any value to your life whatsoever. It is unfortunately quite common for high earners to just spend everything that they make. And what you need to understand is that every dollar that you spend on unnecessary overconsumption of things that you don't need and that don't add any value to your life, that is a dollar that you cannot save and invest into your financial future and into growth. I like to think of myself as being pretty frugal, but I still prioritize spending on the things that matter most to me. A good example of that is that I have 2 gym memberships, I have a sauna membership, I have this monthly Whoop subscription, and I also have a monthly AG1 subscription. And I really prioritize investing into my health and fitness, and I have no hesitation doing so. And that is because it is extremely important for me to feel at my best and to be strong and to be healthy. On the other side, I save a lot of money by not owning a car and instead riding my bike around everywhere I go. I also save a lot of money each month by living in a relatively small and modest apartment with a low monthly rate. And it is important to underscore the fact that frugality is not about just spending as little as possible. Frugality is about spending on what adds value to your life and then cutting back on everything else. And that leads us to the next lesson from the book. Lesson number 3. Make smart decisions on big purchases. So real millionaires, they don't spend too much money on things like a house and a car. And that is because they understand that these two things are often the most expensive item in a person's budget. And if you overspend in these two categories, it is basically impossible to ever get ahead in life. Real millionaires, they buy a house that they can actually afford. And very often they don't buy houses in these fancy upscale neighborhoods with high taxes and a lot of social pressure. The problem with most of these neighborhoods is that people, they really stretch themselves financially just trying to fit in. It is a problem if you live in a neighborhood like this and you spend everything you make and take on massive debt to be able to afford the big house and the luxury cars and all the designer brands. Real millionaires, they don't do this. And I think a good example that showcases this is that most real millionaires, when they buy a car, they will buy a used car and they will pay for it in cash. They will also keep that car for a long time. And it's interesting that real millionaires very often don't see their cars as like a status symbol. What real millionaires are looking for when they are buying a car is something that is cheap, something that is practical, and something that is reliable. Lesson number 4. Build wealth through intentional choices. Most real millionaires are self-made. They didn't win the lottery or inherit a large sum of money. They actually got there themselves by just having good financial habits. And wealth is very often a result of things like hard work, consistency, planning, and self-discipline. It is a process that takes many years. Real millionaires, they don't leave their financial success to chance. They take the time to plan their future. They carefully manage their finances by tracking every dollar that comes in and goes out. They stick to budgets and they write down clear goals. I am also a huge believer in the power of tracking and the power of writing down your goals. If you want to achieve anything in life, you have to track it and you have to write it down. And that is if it's your finances or your fitness or just habits in general. If you don't track it and you don't write it down, you simply don't know what is going on. And that is one of the reasons why I have been tracking almost all the money coming in and going out of my life since 2014, and it has just been a complete game changer for me. And that is because when you know what is going in and out of your accounts, it makes it a whole lot easier to make an informed decision, and you can also fix what needs to be fixed because you can actually see if there is a problem with the way that you're spending your money. Real millionaires are very often business owners. And it's quite interesting to note that they don't have these more fancy or glamorous types of businesses. Instead, they have what most people would consider more boring businesses. And that could, for example, be a cleaning service company or a wage management company or a funeral home or other types of businesses of that nature. These aren't the type of businesses that make for impressive small talk at cocktail parties. But they have something that is far more valuable, and that is a consistent demand, limited competition, and also a potential for steady earnings growth. And another thing to note is that having a high-paying job can be surprisingly expensive. If you work, for example, let's say in a bank or as a lawyer, there's a lot of social pressure and expectations from clients and colleagues, and all of this can add up real quickly without you even realizing it. In these types of jobs, you are most likely expected to, for example, wear a fancy suit for every day of the week, and you should probably also have a nice watch and a luxury car and a big home and a vacation home, and you're also expected to, for example, travel across the world and stay in luxury resorts and also eat at all the best restaurants all the time. And all of these expectations and all of these expensive habits is something that can make it almost impossible for you to build any wealth, even though you're making really good money each month. But then on the other hand, if you do like the real millionaires and you have your own cleaning service company, there's no reason to impress anyone. There's no expectations around that type of business. You don't need a certain watch or a certain car to fit in. You can just instead focus on building wealth and spending less than you make and save and invest the difference. And then last but definitely not least, real millionaires, they understand the importance of finding the right partner. You need someone in your life who shares the same values towards finances as you do. You need someone who also understands that it is very important to spend less than you make and save and invest the different. If you find the wrong partner, a partner that will pressure you into buying things that you cannot afford in an attempt to try and impress other people, a partner like that will make it basically impossible for you to ever build any real wealth and get any financial freedom or flexibility or opportunities in your life. Lesson number 5, know when enough is enough. Real millionaires, they understand that more money is not always the correct answer. At the end of the day, your health and well-being are the two most important and valuable assets that you can ever have. Sometimes the best decision can be to actually step back. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to spend time with your friends and family. If you already have enough money to live comfortably for the rest of your life, it really doesn't make any sense to continue to chase more money, because wealth is not only a number on your bank account. Wealth is also about finding a balance in life where you are actually happy and fulfilled and healthy and stress-free. And if you always just chase more money, I guarantee you, you will never get there. You need to be able to step back and spend some time on the things that truly matter in life. So in conclusion, real millionaires, they live in ordinary houses and they drive ordinary cars. They are completely normal people just like you and me. But there is one thing that is quite unique about these people, and that is that they are financially independent and financially free. And that means that they have enough money saved up to live comfortably for the rest of their lives. The good news is that anyone can become a millionaire if you're just willing to adopt the right habits and the correct mindset. The formula for becoming wealthy is quite simple. You just need to continuously save and invest for 20 to 30 years and you will eventually get there. And with that said, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, I also have a video that I think you will find very interesting about the importance of looking poor in a world where everyone is trying to look rich. And with that said, I just want to say thank you so much for watching the video and see you in the next one.